Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills, also known as UU Catskills. Our ministers, Reverend Bob Janis-Dillon, and I am Vicki O'Doherty, the worship associate for this morning. We're excited to have attendees both in person and in the sanctuary as well as we have people on Zoom too. So just to remind you. I wanted to know, is there anybody here who would like to introduce themselves if you're a newbie amongst us? Anybody here? Oh, hi.
Hi. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Audrey. I've been coming for almost 6 months now, so if you see me around, feel free to say hello. Hi, everyone.
Great. That's a not so newbie.
Hi, I'm Cass, pronouns they, them. I'm a student at Broad College, and I figured I'd show up. It's been a while since I've been to UU Church.
Yay! Welcome. Thank you all. Welcome all. And if you're on Zoom, you can put yourself in the chat box, and that way we'll see that you're a new person. Big welcome to everyone. For those of you who don't, if you have an issue of not being able to be quiet or as much as you would like, we do have a quiet room, which is usually during the week, the minister's office, but it's the back room over there. So if that would be something you would avail yourself to, you are welcome. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are guided by a set of principles and written sources that encompass the many ways we come to know and understand the world, the universe, and the divine. Our principles are important to us at UU Catskills, and we live our values on a daily basis. We affirm that Black Lives Matter. We are a welcoming congregation for the LGBTQ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, and we are an active voice in the effort to address climate change. If you would like to contact someone at UU Catskills, for those attending online, a contact list is shown on your screen. You can visit our website also at uucatskills.org to find contact information. And also you can be added to our mailing list and to get the latest newsletter. We encourage you to read our latest newsletter that members and others on our distribution list receive by email. You can receive the newsletter by signing up on our website. Weekly updates are also sent by email, so if you're interested, just sign up. Thanks to everyone who's assisting with today's service. Our hybrid services of in-person and online are possible by our technical team. Our camera operator is Bruce Wilde. Catherine Kastner is providing our streaming service from the pulpit. And then after the service, she'll break you out into Zoom rooms for a mini coffee break, or a virtual coffee break, what we would call. For our prelude this morning, we have Catherine Catabiani performing I'll Be Seeing You by Sammy Fain.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you. Welcome, as Vicki said, to everyone who's here today, whether you're here in the sanctuary or joining us from home or wherever you are. We're grateful that you're here. It feels like Thanksgiving already. I and we are thankful for each and every one of you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being who you are. One important announcement. So it is Thanksgiving week, and we don't want anyone to be alone unless you want to be alone, which is fine. But if anybody, and don't raise your hand unless you mean it, if anybody has a table this Thanksgiving with room for one more and wants to welcome anybody, would you raise your hand? Is there anyone? Oh, we've got lots of. There's one. Thank you, Bruce. Well, me as well. So if anyone is looking for a place to go this Thanksgiving, approach Bruce or myself. Thank you. The order of service is a little bit different, just to let you regulars know it's a little bit different. And also I know regulars have sometimes said that using two hymnals are confusing. So this week we're using three sources. Any complaints can go to our complaints department, which is on Twitter. It's Elon Musk. You can send that to him. So let us join our hearts in worship and in gratitude and with thankfulness for one another, for this community, for this opportunity that this hour brings to open our hearts a little bit, to be who we are a little bit, to be there for one another a little bit more. So we'll light our chalice, thank you, Vicki, with our unison chalice lighting reading, which is on your orders of service. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community. Even in the darkest of times, may its flame light paths to courage, justice, and hope. And our unison affirmation. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated but connected in wonder and joy, to mystery and miracle, in the universe, in this community, and in each other. We begin with the smaller hymnal, the teal hymnal, and we're singing number 1010. It's a short hymn of hymn of gratitude. We'll sing it through twice. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. So we traditionally have a heart story, and we're not going to actually do a story. We're going to do a slight change to the order of service. The tale of the three sisters is going to be told in religious education by Karen Miller. Thank you, Karen. So the children are going to hear it, and if you'd like to hear it, ask our children later. Or there's many versions of this tale of the three sisters, which are the three traditional crops of Turtle Island, of North America, of where we live. So you can look. I recommend that tale to you, but we're going to do something a little bit different, which is kind of a game. It wouldn't be Thanksgiving without a game, right? And this is a game where I'm going to ask very briefly for you to talk to somebody, and maybe someone you don't know. You can always pass, but I'm inviting you to. It wouldn't be Thanksgiving without an uncomfortable conversation, right? So what I'm going to ask is something. This is for all ages. It's very simple. The first part of this game is you're going to find someone to say something that you're grateful for. So something that you're grateful for. You might take a moment now to think about why you're grateful for it. It's only going to be, we're just going to do this for a minute or two. So if you want to, if you're not feeling brave, you can say it to the person, someone that you know very well. But if you want to say it to someone that you've never met before, that's great too. And while we do that, we're going to do the second part of this game. We're going to hand out things to write on. And if you need someone to help you write with, maybe the person next to you can help you write. So as you're discussing it, we'll give you each, if you could, everybody take. If you'd like to, you can pass again. There's no pressure here. If you'd like to play the game, take a piece of paper and a pen. And there's no winners or losers in this game. I should tell you this. We're all winners, whether you play or not. So with that, if you find someone around you, and just ask them what they're grateful for, and say what you're grateful for. Okay, well, as you're ready, if you want to wind down. I knew this would be the hard part. Okay. Thank you all for bearing with that, and a special thank you to our introverts. I know that isn't easy. Part 2, which may appeal more to our introverts, of our game is to write. Again, if you wish, there's no winning or losing. If you want to write down on that piece of paper, it could be the same thing or it could be something different. Something that you love. Or it could be someone that you love. We'll just put first names, I think. But put something that you care about. It could be a game that you love to play, or something about nature that you love, or someone, or an animal friend, whatever it is, I invite you to write on that piece of paper. And we're going to be putting these in a basket, so you're going to be sharing them, not out loud, but we're going to share them around, and I'll explain the bit after we do that. So if you'd like to, I invite you to write something that you love on that piece of paper, and just as we come around again, just put it in the basket. Okay? As we do that, I just want to say, for those who are looking for a place to go this Thanksgiving, a little help, the Center for Creative Education on Cedar Street is really well equipped for that. So stop by, they can deliver. So our thanks to the Center for Creative Education for that. As you're ready, go ahead and jot something down. It doesn't have to be super long. Try and make, my handwriting's terrible, so if you can make it legible, that's great. Did I write one? Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for keeping me honest. I have to think now. No, thank you. That's right. All right, and when you're ready, I've got one. Just throw it in there. You don't have to hold it up. If you do, it's okay. So for the very last, has everyone had a chance to do that? This is an experiment. What's worship if it's not a little bit risky, right? The last part of this game, and you wonder what this is we're going to pass. I'm going to put a couple more just to make sure that everyone gets one. Hopefully the math works out. And I invite you to take one, and it'll be one. Just take one at random, and it'll probably be one you didn't write, unless it's an incredible coincidence. And just think about, and just hold that with you. This is something that somebody else loves, and you probably won't know who it is, but you're going to do that. And I invite you to carry it around with you for a little while. You can recycle it eventually. I'll give you permission, because some of you might think but it is a little precious, so you can carry it around today and just think, this is kind of what we do in a congregation, is carry around each other's loves. And on Zoom, maybe if you'll put it on the chat, and then we can share it. We can think of all of ours that we share on the chat about what we love, and put it in there. So I invite you to take one and keep it with you for today, and be aware that we carry around all of these things that each other's loves, that we're responsible for taking care of one another and treating as precious what we love, or who we love. Yeah. I know we're still passing these out, but I want to read this E. Cummings poem, which some of you may know, about how we are there for, how there's so much love in this room, right? We might love some of the same things, we might love different things, we love different people and the same people. But this is a poem by E. Cummings, because we're going to carry these little bits of paper and this love. He writes, I carry you with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful, you are my world, my true. And it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. Let us carry each other's hearts. And children, as we sing you out to your lesson and we hope later you might share with us the tale of the three sisters. And if you can always look it online as well, adults. Know that you are carrying so much love. We all love you very, very much. So we're carrying that in our hearts, just as you are carrying love, your love, what you love in your hearts. So let us sing our children out to their lessons. Love give light to every face, in the kindness which you learn, guide your hearts till you return. Now we've got a reading about change and growth and transformation. It's by Sue Ludwig Sprout and Vicky O'Doherty.
I am in search of my life, not one I was dealt, but the one I want to have. Not the one repeatedly stomped into the ground, popping up where I least expect it, but the one where I wake up each day excited to be on a path, blooming with maybe nothing I expected, but everything I wished for. I have been tending to the hard work. I have unearthed and tilled and reseeded the dead areas. I am beginning to see the sprouts, little glowing green life, pushing against gravity, weight of earth to find light. They are in search of their life. They know more than I how to shed the confines of the seed, thank it for its lesson, and grow.
We are you announcing the offertory? Am I doing this on the fly? We're going to have our offering now, which is, remind me, who were we sharing the plate now?
The Workers' Justice Center.
The Workers' Justice Center of Ulster County, helping those provide justice for our laborers, for our workers. So you can give in here in cash, or there's a QR code on the order of service, or those online. You can give at the website, uucatskills.org. We're so grateful. This place is a gathering of gifts. This is how we support one another. It's a place of love where so many people give in so many different ways. So however you can give, it doesn't have to be financial, but all the ways that you provide for this hope, this shared hope, this community of blessing, we are grateful. And our offertory this morning is Skylark by Hoagie Carmichael. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for these gifts. May these gifts be used for justice and kindness and growth and love, and so may we. We now enter into a time of meditation and prayer and reflection. We are going to have a time, as is our tradition, of joys and sorrows, if anyone would like to share a joy and a sorrow. But I'll begin with a pastoral announcement. It's a hard one. This one comes from Bobby Katz, who many of you, many of us know and love. And she asked me to pass this along. Dear members and friends, I am surprised to be saying goodbye to you for the last time. My doctor's guess is I have between 3 and 5. It says weeks. I think it might be months. I'm hoping it is months, but it's not long. Left to live due to cancer in various parts of my body. The most difficult and painful are my lungs. I can hardly breathe. I am very weak and beg you not to phone. Send me your thoughts. This will be the kindest. With affection, Bobby Katz. So our heart goes out to Bobby. We love you, Bobby, if you're watching. And we'll be keeping her in care and love these next weeks and months. And I know this is very hard news to so many of us. So just let's extend that love out to Bobby. I know it's hard not to call, but we'll keep sending our love and keep her in our thoughts. And Bobby, we love you. If there are other joys and sorrows this morning of those of yourself or those close, Gender Day of Remembrance seeks to highlight the losses we face due to anti-transgender bigotry and violence. Gwendolyn Ann Smith writes, I am no stranger to the need to fight for our rights, and the right to simply exist is first and foremost. With so many seeking to erase transgender people, sometimes in the most brutal ways possible, it is vitally important that those we lose are remembered and that we continue to fight for justice. This year, at least 32 transgender people in the US and many more worldwide died violent deaths, and we mourn them. Vicki and I will read the names in memory and honor. It's important for us to remember that these are more than just names. Each name represents a person who lived and loved, who had their own interests and talents, their own unique personality, and their untimely death is a tragedy for the world and for us all. I encourage you, if you have a moment this week, to take a look at the Human Rights Watch website, where a brief biography of these 32 people is included. We now will read the names of these wonderful people. Tiffany Banks,
Samaj Billingsley,
A.C. Morrison,
Maya Allen,
Dee Dee Ricks,
Maddie Huffman,
Aaron Lynch,
Kadii Reed,
Hayden Davis,
Maricela Castro,
Cherry Bush,
Keshia Chanel Getter,
Martasia Richmond,
Kitty Monroe,
Charmaine Giselle Marie,
Brazil Johnson,
Sasha Mason,
Janalika Iela Dior Hemingway,
Nedra Sequence Morris,
Ray Muscat,
Fern Feather,
Ariana Mitchell,
Mia Love Parker,
Kenyatta Kesha Webster,
Catherine Katie Newhouse,
Tatiana Labelle,
Paloma Vasquez,
Matthew Angelos Bampinato,
Naomi Skinner,
Cypress Ramos,
Duval Princess.
Amelie Lege.
Let us pray. Spirit of life, grand and all-encompassing love, we hold these loved ones in our hearts. Even though we may not know them personally, we mourn their deaths. We rage at the needlessness and horror of violence and the intolerance and hatred that goes hand in hand with violence. We hold in our heart the 5 people killed at the nightclub at Colorado Springs last night. As the horror of hatred and ignorance and the mass availability of weapons of killing continue to rage through our nation. We keep the family of all these dear ones in our heart. May they be comforted as they mourn. This week is the week of Thanksgiving. We seek to be grateful for our life here on earth, our life here as part of the human family and as part of the web of all life. At the same time, just as the history of Thanksgiving reminds us, so often, O great love, we turn to violence instead of love, hatred and division instead of understanding and togetherness. As human beings, we seem to find it so easy to hate, so easy to dismiss another human being instead of caring for them, so easy to divide the world into our people and not our people. Spirit of love, sprout of life within us, help us to do the hard work of loving one another. Let us be accountable to those who are the most vulnerable in our country, so we can help everyone be who they are, love who they love, and live their life of justice and peace. We hold in our hearts this hour Bobby Katz and pray for comfort and love. Know that she is surrounded by love. We pray for all those who are suffering. I'm grateful for all healing in our community. For all those who are suffering or struggling, may they know they are not alone. Pray that all that mourn might find comfort as we approach this difficult time of so many reminders. We pray that comfort may wing its way to their door, even at unexpected times. We help bisexual, gay, and lesbian, and all other people. May we all know that we are worthy, lovely, good, whole, divine, precious, just as we are. May our neighbor know that they are worthy, lovely, good, whole, divine, precious, just as they are. May we all truly live the lives we are called to live, that we know we are called to live deep down. And may we work together for the peace that makes this living possible. May it be so. Amen. We'll have a time of silence followed by a meditative prayer. We'll have a little time of silence for our own personal reflection or prayer. Peace be with us, and may love know us by our true name. We're going to sing now hymn number 170, which is in the gray hymnals. We'll actually be singing this again in December. We are doing some exciting things in the world, but one of them is we're starting a small group ministry that we're calling Gay and Straight Together, after Holly Neer's wonderful lyrics. There'll be more about this, but if you're interested, please see me or Joyce or Aaron. We're going to have a group to think about how we can best be together, the Gay and Straight Together Covenant small group ministry. So let us sing together number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. I'd like to begin the sermon today with a very brief reading from the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is a non-canonical gospel, meaning it's a book about Jesus that's not contained in most Bibles. In fact, the Gospel of Thomas was discovered in a cave in a place known as Nag Hammadi in Egypt, in a fascinating tale involving farmers, ancient monks, Egyptian tombs, reputed jinn, possible grave robbing, and a grandmother burning pages of a 2,000-year-old text to bake bread. But we'll save that story for another time. You can look that one up too. We now know that this text of the Gospel of Thomas was written a long time ago. We're not quite sure when, possibly definitely within 300 years of Jesus' life and death, and possibly much earlier than that. It's a collection of sayings reputed to have been said by Jesus himself. And many of these sayings are actually the same ones that are in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke in the Bible. This one that we heard today is one you won't find in the canonical Gospel. It's saying 70. So here it is from the Gospel of Thomas, a saying of Jesus. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Kind of catchy and enigmatic, right? Say it again, because it takes a little. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. What on earth might that mean? Bring forth what is within you. I know what I plan to have within me in about 4 or 5 days: turkey or maybe tofurkey and stuffing and mashed potato and gravy and pies of all description. And let's not forget the mac and cheese. I never forget the mac and cheese. That's probably not what Jesus meant by what's within you, and I certainly do not intend to bring it forth. But our theme in November is change. And I can understand if by the time you get to this time of year, personal transformation, and our reading was on personal transformation, is the last thing on your mind, perhaps. It's cold and it's dark. It's bright today, but not for very long. The heating bill is obscene. And we have those relatives or friends coming to town, and we have to plan for Thanksgiving, followed by Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, New Year, whatever we celebrate. And we have to manage the expectations of our loved ones, make the holidays glitter, write a little forced cheer into our dank and short days of December. So if you're thinking, change, I don't want to change, I just want to survive. Get me to 2023, please. Let me just say, I hear you. There are a great many people these days for whom survival, getting from one day to the next, is a pretty significant accomplishment. And whether you're struggling with serious health challenges or COVID and the after effects, a systemic oppression, trauma and abuse and the lifelong effects of that, mental health, whatever it is, and you don't have to tell me, though you certainly can tell me. Whatever it is, I just want to say, if you're in that survival mode and getting from one day to next, I want to say I see you. I know you're just fighting to figure out how to get to that next day and then the next day. And there's something heroic that you're able to do that with all that's stacked against you right now. You rock. You're doing great. We see you. Keep on doing it. And then maybe there are those sprouts that we heard in the reading, something starting to change, and you're thinking there's time for change. There's something in my life that I feel it. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on under the surface. But even so, if you're feeling those sprouts, personal transformation can feel like a tall order. And as for societal change, because we're not just individuals, we're part of something larger. Societal change, well, a split Congress pretty much sums it up. Feels like sometimes at best we're treading water right now, just spending a lot of energy to stay roughly where we are, if that. I want to preach to you today about salvation. Salvation isn't a word we often hear in Unitarian Universalist congregations. But salvation comes from the Latin root salve, meaning health. In its original pre-Christian formulation in the Roman religions, people would pray to Salus, the Roman goddess of health, well-being, safety, and prosperity. Bet you didn't know salvation was a goddess, right? You're learning something here. People would leave coins at the temple and say, "Please, Salus, just make me get through the holidays okay." I'm sure they would say that then, right? Definitely. And help our families, keep us healthy, make us prosperous, and so on. The wishes that we have. So salvation, in that sense, is not merely whether you end up on a cloud playing a harp after you die. And the afterlife is pretty much a mystery to me, but I suspect that quaint picture is not exactly what happens. Salvation is about how we live now. Salvation, salve, health. What does it mean to be healthy? What does it mean to be whole? If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Thinking about this saying on the Transgender Day of Remembrance, I'm troubled by it. It's a difficult reading. You see all of these people who had the courage to live their lives, who brought forth who they were, and they were murdered horrifically. Now, I don't ever want to normalize it, and I also think it's important to state that there are an estimated 1.6 million people who identify as transgender currently in the U.S., and many times that number around the globe. So it's not that everyone who identifies as transgender is being murdered or that there's constant violence. Some it's very ordinary, and sometimes poverty, of course, is a major factor in all this. And for those who are living in extreme poverty, sometimes it's that much more, life is that much more dangerous. And we can be grateful that for so many of our trans brethren, being trans is just one fact about many about who they are. People don't just want to be not a victim of violence. They just want to be able to live full, ordinary lives, go to the shops, go for a walk in the snow, choose who their favorite musical artists are, get infatuated with a TV show maybe, and so on. The same things we all do. Being transgender is an important fact about someone part of who someone is, just as being heterosexual or female or bisexual or queer or non-binary or straight or whatever it is an important fact of who someone is, but it doesn't define us. We all want to be who we are and live ordinary lives, hang out with our family, fall in love with the human things we all do. And so here are these lovely, beautiful, ordinary people who just wanted to live their lives and be who they were, died too young. And while we don't know in every case, it's probable that transphobia, hatred, and a lack of understanding, societal ignorance were a factor in their untimely deaths, as was the violence in our national psyche and the mass availability of weapons of murder. So that's the challenge, right? If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. It seems like not in their case. And so many people in our society feel this fear of being murdered for who they are, their very identity, which is fundamental to who they are. It might make them an object of hatred and worse, whether it's for gay, lesbian, and queer people, for Black and Latino and Native American and Asian people, for Muslim and Jewish people, for non-binary transgender people. And transgender people are arguably the most vulnerable of all. The most vulnerable of all in many cases, which makes it particularly despicable that that powerful lobbies and politicians in America see them as easy fodder for ridicule and abuse. Rally the troops by picking on the least among us. If you bring forth what is within you, it feels so risky. But the Gospel of Thomas is a mystical text, written and carried by people who knew a thing or two about persecution. We think the monks at the Nag Hammadi may have been in the desert hiding out from the ecclesiastical authorities. And I think there's a deeper meaning here that's really important. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. I think the transgender people whose names we read, who we honor here today, were not destroyed. Oh, they lost their lives to violence, which is a terrible and lamentable and awful thing. But they were not destroyed. They were who they were, as were and are those 1.6 million in America proudly claiming their identity as transgender people. They are saving themselves. When gay and lesbian and bisexual and queer people stand up and say, you know what, this is really who I am, I'm not denying it, they are saving themselves. Not from physical harm in every case. Sadly, there's always a risk. But they are saying, this is who I am. This is the path to health and wholeness. This is how I want to live. And I need to say this. You can't stop me, they're saying. I'm going to live my life. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Sometimes we just have to bring forth who we are to save ourselves and to save each other, to share this courage with one another. And the people who resorted to acts of violence, these people weren't saved. Oh, I don't know if the fires of hell await them or not, but I do know in the act of violence they were definitely not who they are or who they should be, not really deep down. Violence is a turning away from vulnerability, a total denial of who we are at the heart center. We become nothing more than an act of violence. That's what we become when we act in violence. Whereas the victim, or the transgender victim, the victim of any description, we can say of them that they had the courage to be who they are. Who is saved in the final analysis? The person who dies but lives their life and actually is who they are, or the person who kills and never becomes who they really ought to be? Who is saved? As I say, I want to preach salvation at you a little bit today. Never thought I'd really be preaching salvation. Now, as I said to you, you might be just in getting by mode, just trying to survive from one day to the next. And if you are, I salute you. I've been there. You do what you need to do. As a hymn said at the interfaith service last week, we need you to survive. We need you to survive. God needs you to survive. Humanity needs you to survive. You are vital and important. You are crucial, just the way you are. We need you to survive. And when we don't survive, because all of us go at some point, know that you will be loved. We will carry you with us in our hearts, and you will still be here in some mystical way. And if you have a little more in the tank today, if you feel those sprouts of change, even if they're just small and budding and you're not sure what to do with them yet, I tell you this: what you bring forth will save you. The world needs you. We all need you. You need you to really be who you really, really are, to be your abundant self. The self that's bursting with generosity and compassion and creativity and love. No one can tell you who that is except for you. You know who that is. And if you don't, you're on a journey to find that out. And if you don't bring it forth, this inner creativity, this inner kindness, this inner joy, this inner sorrow, if you don't bring forth who you really are, the text says what you don't bring forth will destroy you. And really, if you never live out that love in your heart, I mean, if you let this day pass and the next, and winter and spring and summer, and you don't really live out what love is calling you to do, if you don't live justice out loud, you just kind of talk about it and it doesn't happen, I mean, you'll survive, right? But what kind of life is that? You might live to 150 and die in your bed, but you still won't have lived the life you could have lived. I can't help thinking of Bobby. I don't know if you're watching Bobby, but every day Bobby seems to be Bobby. You know what I mean? And for those who are not regulars here, I apologize for bringing in and in saying, but there are people that we know that live out their lives every day. And that's what I think this text is asking of us, to be who we are. Bring forth what is within you. And I guarantee you, you will find opportunities to give yourself away this year. You'll find opportunities to bring forth what is within you. Maybe it'll be speaking up for our transgender fam who are facing discrimination or hatred. Maybe it'll be the courage to have that first difficult conversation at Thanksgiving. You know, the one you were dreading with that family member you always find so challenging. Maybe it'll simply be being yourself, being loudly and proudly yourself, and living a beautiful, ordinary life in the face of persistent and potentially soul-draining oppression. Oh, you can always increase your pledge. And I'm not really kidding there. If people give at the rate we're giving now, this congregation won't last 20 years. So we need to find that abundant, selfless, life-giving generosity. Otherwise, this will be the last generation that inhabits this congregation. It's up to us. So I want to ask you, and please make a noise if you hear me, right? We can speak up. I want to ask you, are you going to speak up for what you believe in? Are you going to bring forth a little kindness into this world? Are you going to bring forth a love for the outcast and the downtrodden? Are you going to share some love for our gay brothers and lesbian sisters, all our dear transgender and queer family? Are you going to share a message of hope with those who need it?
Yes.
Are you going to put your foot down and say, I know we're not going to end racism tomorrow. I know that it's everywhere. I know it's complicated. But for goodness sake, I'm going to do something to start to end racism today.
Yes.
Are you going to welcome the stranger and the immigrant?
Yes.
Are you going to fight for everyone's right to live an ordinary life, to be who they are and not be ashamed of it? Are you going to fight for everyone to not be afraid but be saved by love, living a full life by love?
Yes.
One more. Are you going to start loving the hell out of this world?
Yes.
There's enough hell out there. We need to love it out. Do it. So hallelujah. Let's do it. Let's start it. Let's do it today. Bring it forth. Hallelujah. We're going to sing the last 3 verses with gusto of 170 again on your gray hymnals. Just verses 4, 5, and 6. I'll call out the lyrics, so you don't need a hymnal unless you want one. Yep. We are a land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. Dear ones, it's so important how we are together. So important what we do here and in the larger here, the big here. We are together in this, but we can lose sight of that so easily. So let's love one another. Let's be there for one another. Try and open your heart to a little bit of kindness to one another. So many people, all of us, are in such dear need of it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to get it all right. You don't need to have, everything brilliant in the past or the future or even the present. You just need to be present. And let's be there for one another. This world needs so much love right now. It needs so much tolerance. It needs so much of the willingness to learn and understand about one another. Let's do this, and let us be grateful for the opportunity to be there for one another and grateful for what we have. Amen. Please be seated. We have a closing blessing. The choir are going to send us on our way to this Thanksgiving week with a beautiful song. So we'll go forth in blessing.
As we share what we have with each other, let us sing out joyfully. May abundance lead to gratitude, then to generosity. As we share what we have each other,
As we share what we share with each other, let us sing out joyful gratitude.
let us sing out joyful
Gratitude
that we share what we have with each other. Let us
share
sing
what we
out
have with each
joyfully.
other. Let us sing out joyful gratitude.
Let us sing out joyful
Gratitude.
Let all abundance lead to gratitude, then to generosity.
As we share what we have with each other, let us sing out joyfully. May abundance lead to gratitude, then to generosity.
Sing with us. As we share what we have with each other, let us sing out joyfully. May abundance lead to gratitude, then to generosity. Once more. As we share what we have with each other, let us sing out joyfully. May abundance lead to gratitude, then to generosity.
So we extinguish our flame with these words. We extinguish this flame, but not in the light of truth, the warmth of the community, or the fire of commitment. These we can carry in our hearts until we are together again.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
So in peace, everyone. There's stay for fellowship and tea and coffee if you're for those in the building. Stay on our Zoom hangout rooms for those at Zoom. Have a wonderful Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thank you.